Welcome back to the den, everybody. We have Bradley Carwin here and
Adam.
Eliseo Garcia. Well, if you're tuning in on the podcast, welcome to our first ever podcast.
Yes.
Which is hilarious because we're actually running a 4K camera and the entire light set, well, not the entire, half the light setup for this one.
It smells like if they made
Peanut brittle.
Yeah, but also like if they made a perfume based on peanut butter.
Called Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Woo-hoo! The after kick on that son of a bitch, I'll tell you what, came out of nowhere.
For those of you that can't see it, because you've been so gracious enough to actually join us in our podcast endeavor
on Spotify, probably. We're on SoundCloud right now.
The good old Spotify. He grabbed a couple of those. What would you call the airplane bottles?
Yeah,
those airplane shot bottles.
Yeah,
but he got a peanut butter whiskey.
Dude, that goes down heavy. Like it's slow but heavy.
Like peanut butter. Weird.
Yeah. That's probably why.
Who knew?
It doesn't taste like peanut butter.
It smells like
it fucking smells like, and it goes down like you swallow peanut butter.
You know, it's kind of funny. So I was actually at a job site this morning, or my second job site this morning.
Probably should have just down the whole thing.
And when I first walked in, it was at a pho place, and I couldn't place the smell. First walk in, it's strong, and I'm like, it's like a mint. It's some kind of something, and eventually it dawns on me. I'm like, that's Jaeger.
Wow.
Straight black licorice in this place. Just
mint,
reeked
really?
to high heavens. Yes, and here's the weird thing. I wasn't having a stroke. I wasn't smelling burnt toast, but I go to use the restroom, and I'm like, that's vodka. No, wait, that's whiskey. That is. I don't know what cleaning products they're using.
Not.
But it reeked.
They're saving money just using liquor.
I mean, it was an incredibly...
The night janitor is just an alcoholic.
He's just sitting in the corner singing to his mop. Nobody knows the troubles I've seen. Yeah, I mean, it was an impeccably clean restroom. But
that's probably why he was getting drunk. He was just like, oh, not
you know
much
what?
work to
I did my
here.
job, damn it.
Yeah. Did a damn good job. I deserve this
I'm
drink.
Gonna put this fifth away.
Tell you what, that's me, man. That was me on Christmas.
Did a bunch of cleaning, did you?
No.
Then you drank?
No, just
drinking. You don't have the excuse he did.
I did.
Huh.
That was just a lot sadder. Oh, man. So, yeah, Screwball peanut butter whiskey went up too bad.
Frosted over.
Yeah, we're actually doing another Einstock. Actually, 2 Einstocks today, which is going to be pretty crazy. I don't know if you want to log on to our earlier episodes. If I can turn those into podcasts, I will. But I don't have the audio editing software.
To isolate the audio?
Yes. So I don't have the audio editing software yet. I'll be getting that to turn our other videos into podcasts. I might just go ahead and do the whole podcast thing, go all in on it, because it's like $20 a month for unlimited uploads to get an actual podcast thing going.
Ooh, boy. You try it yet?
Oh, yeah. So cheers, as always. So this is Einstock Olgard Icelandic Arctic Berry Ale. And as we remember from before, or for you just joining us on the podcast, as we remember before, the Einstock uses a classic Nordic brewing technique. Yeah. So they're very traditional, yeah. And on this label we have in Iceland, Shmurdabarg, the first day of summer.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly how it's pronounced.
Yeah, right? The first day of summer designates the arrival of warmer temperatures and abundant sunshine. At Einstock, we're celebrating summer with this limited edition Arctic Berry Ale, a refreshing wet beer flavored with tasty blueberries, handpicked near the Arctic Circle. It's the perfect ale for the summer adventures. But enjoy it while you can. It will disappear with the midnight sun. That's actually, I like that ending.
Poetic,
very.
Also, hey, limited edition.
I also like how the look at the Nord.
Oh, with the sunglasses.
Yeah, the shades on.
He's got the what are those Ray-Bans called? The Wayfarers. He's got some Wayfarers on, but white.
So I think we need to see these for the limited edition can. Because I think that's what it is, the limited edition.
Yeah, these are pretty rad. Just because I want to make the attempt for his interpretation of classic Nordic language in Iceland. Sumar Dagurin Fyrsti.
Dagurin. It's like a lower. They go lower with the U's. Like the O's.
I mean, if a Viking wants to show up right now and correct me, I'll let him.
Oh.
I'll do it right now.
And then what you Fyrsti? Fires?
Fyrsti?
Fyrsti? Fyrsti. No,
Just
girl that was
because when it's hot outside and you've been doing chores and stuff, you get a little thirsty.
Been choring.
You get a little thirsty.
Got some choring to do.
Yeah. So.
All right. So we'll be going over literature for the next 5 episodes.
Yes.
Boom, 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 boom.
So this is probably going to be on par in length. How many World War II
we'll be
episodes
doing,
did we do?
Actually, we gave up like halfway through.
I don't think we gave up. I mean,
we did.
We went straight to the battle royale.
Yeah, we rushed the last half of it.
You were getting bored.
All right, so the only reason why I got bored is the amount of work that goes into the episodes that we do, like the video editing and stuff.
Well, okay, yeah, that.
The video editing, the uploading, the hashtagging, all that at the same time as doing the trying to get the product off the ground was a bit much for me. So to do the World War II, unlike my co-host here, Bradley, who has an in-depth knowledge because he paid attention in high school and college.
No, not even. They don't even go over half of that crap.
Oh well, he learned all the stuff about World War II.
Oh yeah.
And my knowledge was mainly based on my unit, so I didn't have as in-depth a knowledge, so I couldn't really give as much for the episodes that I wanted to. So I ended up just rushing those. We may go back to it in a later season if we make it to a season 4. We'll make it to a season 4. So we'll
we
circle.
didn't even touch upon all the weird shit that went on.
Yeah, well, I mean,
the cult of Thule.
Yeah,
in Germany, their search for the spear of destiny.
Yeah, Hitler's whole fascination with the cult. We didn't get into that, but also we didn't even start the conspiracy theory series. So what we're doing now is something that we both have a in-depth passion and knowledge of, which would be literature. And this is not to say
something that we spend a lot of money on.
Yeah, not to say that we are not English majors at all in the slightest. So moving on, we're doing literature, and the other episodes have yet to be determined on which order on topics we're going in, but we're going to cover our favorite books, our favorite authors, favorite story types. For this episode, I believe we agreed on going our preferred reading medium.
Yeah.
Wow. So, all right. So to go over, we'll just cover the different types of medium there are. What do we have, Bradley?
So obviously, again, you have the traditional paper books. I mean, that's something that's been around.
Paperbacks.
I mean, there's leather-bound books. Yeah. There are I mean, there's been.
Books wrapped in skin.
Yes.
That's where I thought you were going with it.
Skin-bound. Oh, man. We should talk about... There's a certain priest who was, to prove that he was not an apostate, to handwrite the entire Bible in 1 year, with illustrations and everything.
He didn't complete this, did he?
He did.
Wow!
But, the story goes, on the final night... He wasn't completed. On the final night, he had prayed to God, everything. Yeah. He ended up praying to Satan.
Oh!
Guess who shows up and helps him finish? It was Satan! And it's wrapped in human skin.
And for those of you who do not know, Lucifer is a fucking angel. So, an angel showing up.
Fallen angel.
An angel showing up.
Lucifer, the bright and morning star.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're talking about a being of unparalleled beauty with wings. You're going to be like, oh, yeah, I trust this SOB.
No, he prayed specifically. He knew what was up.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. He's like, God's not answering. Better dial friggin'...
Well, 911's not answering.
Hey, Lucy, I got a deadline. No, I mean a dead line.
Yeah.
These priests are not, as they say, fucking around.
Yeah.
I am very...
So far we got to hardback, paperback, and skinbound.
But, I mean...
That's where we ended.
Literature goes back, I mean, time immemorial. But some of the first that I can remember is papyrus. So we're talking 3000 BC. We're talking
Plants.
Egyptian. So that they would use water or reeds.
Yeah.
They would end up, making these papyrus sheets.
Not that we read these books.
No. I mean, before that, there were stone tablets and clay tablets that were... Oh, you know what? Actually, that reminds me.
Yeah, we don't read these either.
Clay tablets that they found in Mesopotamia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cave wall drawings.
All the way up
Those
until...
can be considered literature as well.
To the Christian monks and stuff like that who would spend all day, every day, handwriting copies of the Bible with illustrations in the corners, and there are these beautiful manuscripts that are they're enormous.
Oh yeah,
well, is it folio sized? Oh man, they spared no expense for these. This is the Word of God, so of course
you're talking about a 2 foot by 1 foot across book.
That's 4 feet thick. It's crazy. It would be a pulpit size.
And these are written on like thick strand cotton.
So a lot of times they would be made on vellum.
Vellum.
Yeah. So which is a lot of times hide. So animal hide, usually deer, something like that. So you had those up until we finally kind of revolutionized the bookmaking process with the Gutenberg press.
That was like way late in the fucking 1900s.
No. You're talking 1600s. I can't remember exactly. Yeah. But the thing is too is that they would have it to where they could only create a page at a time. They would do typeset, so they would essentially have
slide
blocks,
in the
right, and then they would rotate a lever that would set the page down, print, and then they do another one. And the first thing that they created on the Gutenberg press, the Gutenberg Bible.
Yeah, so
but all that to say,
that are being
up
printed.
until it was revolutionized at that point, and then we started having mass production of books. Obviously, they became books back in the day were obviously incredibly rare and incredibly expensive because again you had to hand make them or very slowly make them using a press.
A small percentage of people actually
could even read.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's why. And again, religion plays a giant part of this.
Well, not just religion, but you're talking about just we're talking about politics earlier. Mm-hmm. Was it classism?
Oh yeah, because that's how you kept the lower class in their place.
Yeah, well, that's how
you gain control. Information controls everything.
Unfortunately,
Amazon, who spearheaded it. The Kindle. So you have electronic formats, digital formats for books.
Oh, yes.
Which I use every day. So for me, my preference is situational.
Your phone.
Yeah.
Well,
because I do have the Kindle app. I have a Kindle, and I have a Kindle Fire, and I have the Kindle app on my phone.
Yeah, but your phone is always on you, and a majority of the time you're on the go. You're
so it is highly situational in that, again, I've mentioned I have hundreds of books, comics, graphic novels,
comics,
everything. When I go to bed at night, what I do just before I go to sleep is I do read a little bit. No, I have a wife for that. But yeah, the last 15, 20 minutes or whatever before I go to sleep is I read a little bit because one, it's comforting and I get relaxed doing it. But then also, too, it kind of makes me a little sleepy, and I get ready for bed. I'm not staring at my phone. I don't have a bright light shooting in my eyeballs. And it's just preferred. But yeah, when I'm at home, I grab an actual physical, tangible book. However, again, in situations where I have downtime and I'm not home, the convenience of having a digital format in the Kindle, oh my God.
What's your hold on. So, the Kindle, do you run with the Page Lite, which is the Kindles have various ones.
Yeah.
You have the old school ones, which is which
I did have. It even had a little keyboard on there.
Well, mine didn't have it. I'm talking about.
I had first gen.
Gen 1 without the keyboard.
Oh, mine had a little.
It had the digital. No, the first gen had the thing where you had to like fucking put. It was like a fucking old school cell phone.
Oh, the note.
It had a little D-pad type thing.
In black and white.
Yeah. So you have the old school one, which is back and
light
with no light, and then our later one, which was Gen 2 and 3.
The first ones didn't have a light in the back.
Yeah. So if you have a light in the back, that's not Gen 1. I'm sorry, that's still my favorite reading medium.
Maybe I'm going crazy. Anyway, well, and so the Kindle's great.
Yeah.
But I think more there's a certain amount of kinesis to it, or a certain a tangibility that is more about being comfortable, or it just makes you feel good.
Well, they also have the page light, which looks like you're looking at a legit page.
Yeah.
And the screen, if you run your thumb across, it has a bit of that texture for it, which I personally think. I mean, come on, Amazon, like really?
Yeah.
If you want a book, get a fucking book.
Well, so I made that joke earlier, whenever we were talking this morning. But the thing is, like, I start work anywhere between like 3 and 6 a.m. So at that time of the morning, a paper light, not going to work for me. My standard Kindle or on my phone, beautiful.
I can't do the phone because the phone, after a couple pages, gives me a headache. But the
standard Kindle.
Well, I have the old school Kindle. There's no
black and white.
Yeah, there's no backlight on it.
Yeah.
And there's actually a small chip when I dropped it in Afghanistan. But it has the case.
They're pretty sturdy.
The case I bought for it has this little thing where it pops out a little bit. And it's a little reading light, but it's not super bright. And it's legit because I can hold it like this, and it lights down just like you would have an old school...
Like on your Game Boy, you remember those things?
Oh, no, it's an old school clip that has
on
an
your
old
book.
School book reading light. Yeah. They would clip on your book.
It worked as a bookmark, and...
Exactly.
Yeah. So I remember now, I broke my first gen.
Okay.
That's what it was. So it did break, and the gray plastic or whatever was fine, but the screen...
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole thing about these screens is they are super fragile. I got 3,000 books on a fucking hard drive, and I've loaded like 500 some odd books onto the Kindle, and there's still a couple of books that I'm still reading through, but I've read through a majority. Like, I'm getting to the point, and this is what 6 years ago that I had deployed, and I'm barely getting to the end of the fucking books that I have loaded on the Kindle. So I mean, to me is a fantastic medium because I flop through a bunch of books. If I'm reading a book and I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, I'm not into the genre anymore. I run a gambit on genres.
Yeah.
One moment I'll be like, space battles, I want a spaceship.
Yeah, and then he goes to 50 Shades of Grey.
That was a book club thing, and I regret reading the later books, not so much the first book. I got a whole opinion on that. That would literally be like a quarter of an episode just going through that. But yeah, so 50 Shades of Grey. But so it'll be like, okay, space battles, zombie, I want reality, paramilitary, Tom Clancy, high definition or high detail.
Yeah.
So I read a ton of books and I don't do them. Like I'll finish a couple of books, I'll get like deep into the series and then just be like, I need zombies in my life, or I need grenades in my life, or I need magic. I need vampires. And I will swap genres just like that. And that's what I love about the Kindles is I just fucking scroll. It's not a touch screen. So I just scroll with my little side buttons here. And I scroll through and I'm like, okay, this book. So I hit down on the D-pad, hit okay, and I open up the book. And it tells me where I'm at on it. And then when I just go back to this, like, okay, I need more fantasy. Oh, where was that book that I was reading a couple...
So, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that where, like, eventually you'll just be, like, burnt out on a series or something like that.
Just a genre.
It immediately brought to mind, and I had to refresh myself really quick with the name. So it's the Anita Blake series. The first 3 books, fucking astounding.
Can't put them down. Absolutely
amazing. And then it turned to shit. Because what ended up happening is, I don't know if it's a female writer.
Well, who's the author? If you're going to bring up the title of the book.
Absolutely. I know.
Is this one of your favorite books, or is this a series that just came to mind?
So the author of the Anita Blake series is Laurel K. Hamilton. And so she's a female writer. She started the series with the intent to write a strong female lead, which she absolutely did, because at that point in time, and even still today, there's a definite lack when it comes to action or crime investigation with a female. And it was a great story to start with. So it's this chick, Anita Blake. She initially starts off as what's called an animator, and it's not super rare, but it's pretty rare.
What is an animator in this
So an animator is somebody who can raise the dead.
Okay.
Yeah, so
necromancer.
Not yet. So it's necromancer light. She doesn't have the ability to, control or exert power and call up hordes of zombies and
Just
skeletons
raise
and
the
all
dead.
that. Yeah,
Alright,
yeah.
so you're talking about for
she
non-D&D players.
Yeah.
Necromancy.
So she worked for a company. It was actually based in Missouri. So she worked for a company where essentially like lawyers would show up with a family to say, hey, Joe Blow didn't write a will before he died, so they'll end up creating a contract. They'll raise the person to then divvy off the estate or whatever. Or
so
like a psychiatrist or psychologist would show up with their client or whatever because they were raped by their father or something like that. So as part of their grieving process or their getting better or healing or whatever, she would raise the father up for the kid to fucking scream at for an hour and a half to finally get all of that out or whatever, like different things.
So
like
this
that.
is
And it was very voodoo based.
Well, this uses the real world.
Yeah, so it's urban fantasy. So it falls into that genre of urban fantasy, which is probably my favorite.
Well, let's give our listeners and viewers a description of what urban fantasy may be.
So urban fantasy is essentially, it's an absolute mesh of the two basic concepts. And that fantasy is obviously, think Lord of the Rings, think any of those
magic,
high magic, elves, dwarves, whatever, dragons, all that stuff. Urban fantasy is a lot of times just that same scenario with elves and dragons and dwarves and all that stuff, or just plain magic in general,
but using
in a modern day and time. So think if you walked outside and your neighbors were orcs or whatever,
Okay, so Netflix. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So something like that.
Same thing. Okay.
So that's something closer to. While that is also urban fantasy, that falls very close to another series that I love called Shadowrun, and it's written by several different authors.
Well, I'd like
it's a world.
Quick clarification.
That's considered cyberpunk.
Genre would be cyberpunk's.
That's Shadowrun is considered.
No,
cyberpunk.
I was talking about Brett. But so for your urban fantasy, is that just any modern environment, or is that particular to using real world with fantasy?
It doesn't necessarily. No, of course
it doesn't.
It doesn't have to be real world. No, it could be an alternate universe where Nixon didn't get impeached and there was no Watergate.
That's what I'm saying. Is
JFK was never assassinated, but now there's
using
fairies.
real world. I'm saying is using real world. It would be using today's cities.
The same kind of concept.
Okay.
Yeah, the same basic thing. Yeah, we have skyscrapers and there's McDonald's.
For your book, you said Missouri.
Yeah, so it was set in pretty much regular old ass Missouri.
Okay. So.
Yeah. But where it went off the rails is that the first 3 books were fantastic. There was a ton of combat. It was exploring what I think are fucking cool powers. Because whenever you see a good guy, it's always, he's throwing fireballs or, he's a paladin and, he's protecting the good guy. This is a chick who's outweighed, 2 to 1 by every bad guy she comes up against.
Oh.
She uses firearms.
But I think I like that personally when a female protagonist
is aware of their limitations and absolutely capitalizes on their skill set. Whatever they're good at, they make sure to double down on. So that's kind of the thing too, is that she makes a point in the books that she's a black belt in judo, but she makes sure to run a lot, because there are a lot of times where she carries 2 magazines for her pistol. No, I'm good. Where, there's going to be a point in time where you need to outrun somebody. Well, and you need to make sure you're faster than the dude you're outrunning. So it's very practical.
Well, hold on. Does it get to a point where she faces somebody where just logically she's not going to win the battle?
Oh,
and
absolutely.
She has to make an
constantly.
escape.
Every book. That's the premise of a book. Where, of course, there's some. So the thing is also what she does is,
and she has to do her level up or whatever.
As a side gig, she's also a state licensed executioner. In that certain races.
Dread.
No. I don't want to say not as cool, because it's cool, but different cool.
Okay.
In that certain races in that particular world, a lot of times in urban fantasy, some races are known, some aren't. Sometimes they're fully out in the light. A lot of times maybe it's still very hidden, and the human populace just kind of turns a blind eye to it. Yeah.
Is this Is this your favorite book, or is this just
No. This is one that just apparently after a while just completely turned me off, and I'll explain why.
Good, keep going.
But she was a state licensed executioner in that if you died by vampire attack, and you had specifically requested, I don't want to come back after 3 days or whatever, her job was to show up at the morgue and stake you.
Huh.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was part of it. So all that to say, she's a complete badass. There's even a scene where in like the third book where there's this big battle royale between this new vampire comes into town, and he's kind of fucking up the establishment, and he's old. I mean, caveman old. So super powerful. The older they got, the more powerful they got. It smells dark.
Chocolate.
That's
sure you don't want
incredibly sweet. I'm still going to give this one a whirl. But one of the greatest characters that's in that story, who kind of just, as a Deus Ex Machina, everyone's a werewolf or a fucking vampire or a necromancer or all this crazy shit.
Twilight.
The scariest fucking dude
Human.
in the entire goddamn storyline, plain old vanilla human.
Alright.
You know why? Because he's the meanest, and he's always a fucking mile away with you in a scope. He is absolutely emotionless. He walks into this fight scene, no joke. Everyone's in melee, homeboy walks in with a flamethrower. Just completely fucks the rules, and just, you know what? I don't care about any of you. And wins!
But hold on.
He's amazing. His name is Edward. How more white vanilla shit do you get?
The author was clearly portraying humans are
not to be fucked with at certain times.
We are the most terrifying creatures.
Yes.
Out there.
And here's why. So, if you want to talk about my favorite series...
no.
Oh, are we saving that one?
That is an episode all on its own. That's why I didn't stop your tangent, because I was like, oh, this is not his favorite series, so we can let this go.
But I will tease something. In that series, the magical world is very secret. Even when it kind of rears up its head and stuff like that, humans as a race... We don't want it to mess up our lives. We don't want it to interfere. Yeah. We've got enough shit going on, whatever. Well, so just kind of our brains are kind of trained to like, I didn't see it. Well, people see ghosts all the time, and then they're like, did I?
Well, no, just like anything back in the day, dragons, whatever, back in the day would have been prominent. But just as humans, is that practical? Is it useful to me as my everyday life? No, it's not. We're going to go ahead and just shut that thing down.
So the other reason that they want to keep themselves secret... vampires, all this stuff, is that as powerful and as dangerous and as spooky and scary as they are and stuff like that, the protagonist every so often threatens to bring humans into it. And that's when the bad guy goes, I guess not, you win.
Well,
because humans, all these monsters remember a time when humans were aware and they brought out the pitchforks and the torches and raised holy hell.
Yeah.
And so, humans, to the supernatural world, are the equivalent...
Great white sharks in the ocean.
...of the atom bomb. They are a hammer that smites all. So that's why, it's really good.
Well, it's numbers and... Yeah. They have a definitive... Yeah, humans overall are weak.
Humans don't have as many rules as a lot of these
guys do.
There's
a lot of them. Yeah. And, we're not susceptible to just silver.
Daylight.
Yeah. There's things like... Oh, okay, well...
These guys only show up one day out of the year, or whatever.
These are sleeps during the day. All I have to do is demo that castle during the day, and he's fucked.
Yeah, that's it.
Huh.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is that humans are an ever-present...
danger.
Continual danger.
That
now have machine guns.
I love series like that.
It's great.
I absolutely love series like that.
That third book... The third book has the greatest freaking fight scene again. Homeboy just wades into the thick of the fray with a fucking flamethrower.
And that was
and all the monsters are like, this is bullshit. Fuck that. I'm 1,000,000 years old. I can literally make earthquakes. But fuckboy over here walked in with a flamethrower and shut my shit down. Fuck it, I quit.
But I like
But
that.
after that, it turned into, I don't know if she was listening to input from her readers, there were a great deal of female readers, because again, they were jumping onto the bandwagon of
romance.
Oh my god, we finally have a
Twilight.
hero. Yes. She, and this is going to get incredibly graphic because it annoys, and my brother he's the one that actually got me onto the series. After that, I'm not kidding you, she fucked everything that moved. Because I think, I remember reading somewhere that her fan base kind of like, hey, where's the romance? Where's the, we'd really appreciate, a little bit more of, Sweet Dickens.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
50 Shades of Grey.
She fucked everything that moved. She walked into a room with an aquarium, the fish stopped moving.
I like that. Comparison.
Boy, howdy. And I kid you not, just her literary style, the way she wrote it, every single time somebody she had sex with, their dick was bigger than the last one. By her 94th person, people across the street are fucking her. It's bizarre. It got really weird, and everything is super sexual, and it's just like... And you watch the book diminish in size from actual storyline and combat scenes and things that would actually move the plot and a great story and character development. And it was just like...
But I bet you anything, she sold more copies doing...
She's on her 21st book! I will say exception. So books 1 through 3, maybe 4. The 6th book is the best of all, and it's called Obsidian Butterfly. I'll never forget this shit. You know what it's about?
Does it have sex in it?
It's about Edward. He is...
Twilight.
No. This is Flamethrower Man.
Okay. I was like, hold on.
What makes a typically loner, emotionally devoid psychopath more dangerous? When he finally kind of has a family he cares about.
And a monster kills him. Oh my god.
They get kidnapped. They don't get murdered, but there is that threat. Homeboy goes,
I got this.
I guess I gotta get out the rocket launchers. Yeah.
What dad wouldn't?
I'm not kidding you. There's a rocket launcher. It's amazing. It's the best book because there's no sex. And he just goes,
if you're a
fuck
sociopath,
murder frenzy.
If you're a sociopath and you know that there's these supernatural creatures out there, are you going to go for the AR-15 or are you going to go for the biggest firepower you can get your hands on?
Oh no, I kid you not. He constantly brings the goodies. Like he shows up in the books and he's like, hey, here's an M60 E4.
You got your silver silver-plated bullets up in here. I tell you what, that's it. Kill werewolves all day long.
He's the Santa Claus I always wanted. I kid you not.
Oh my god.
But here's the kind of the thing too is that
does he ever get a militia going?
No, he is the militia. Yeah, and he has all the goodies. He has all the silver-plated bullets.
Oh, I guess if he had the militia, it might have been a little OP.
So within their world too, so Anita's kind of her nickname within the vampire world is the Executioner. She has something like
hold on
at that time like 18 kills to her name.
Anita is a human.
She's not considered fully human because she eventually develops her powers to where she can control vampires. She can raise the dead very easily, and they respond to her.
But when she's initially introduced, she's technically considered human.
Yeah,
how would you classify her?
She's called a
Magi. Oh my god, no Magi.
What did I call it originally?
An animator.
Animator. That's actually their title.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Necromancers
are super rare.
Well, you see where I'm coming from, where they go. They usually roll those.
She's human. She's flesh and blood. Yeah, she's not gonna live forever. She's not. Yeah.
Not gonna become a lich. Has the ability?
I don't know. I stopped reading after book. I don't know. 9, 10, something like that. I think each book is named after a location.
So that series dried up for you because
it devolved into just nonsense.
Became fucking fanfic.
It became erotic fan fiction.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
while that has its place,
most fanfic becomes erotic. But I mean, for an author to
deviate from something that was so compelling, so good, and appealed to me to change dramatically.
Were you reading them when they came out or years after?
Years after.
Because if it's years after, then that means that at the time they didn't have the fan base that they were going for. So
I think she was influenced by her fan base, which was majority female.
And that wanted...
Yeah, so she transitioned.
Yeah, and the reason why she's still making books is because it's still selling.
She had a sweet car. It was a Chevy Nova. It was awesome.
I mean,
they talked about blood sacrifices to... You know, it's just a little...
Countless
kind of
genres,
dark.
right?
What's that?
Countless genres.
Oh, yeah.
So what would you say would be the main everybody knows of genres? If you went into
I mean, if you want to... I mean, there's
main,
what's
like,
super
if
popular
you
right
went through
now,
common.
nonfiction. So, like, crime dramas, you know, all the anthologies that go into serial killers and stuff like that, all the psychology that goes behind it.
So you have crime, so you would have...
There's romance novels that everyone
crime.
who walked through a grocery store when they were a kid is aware of.
You would have real crime.
Yeah,
crime
true
novels.
crime novels. Yeah.
Yeah, and then just regular crime dramas.
Yeah.
And then,
which
said,
can be fiction.
And then, as you
or
said,
nonfiction.
Yeah, and then you said
you've got
the romance.
your Nancy Drews. You've got your, yeah.
You've never read a Nancy Drew?
Not once.
Huh. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. I don't dig crime dramas.
Okay.
I read some party
Okay,
movies
I honestly thought you were going to go sexist. Like, I don't think strong female characters. I'm kidding.
Strong female characters are right.
Yeah.
But I read some Hardy Boy novels when I was a kid. Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
But those are classics, you know.
Oh, yeah. But so you would have
that, it's not my bent. It's not my genre.
Fantasy, horror, true crime, and obviously urban fantasy would be a subset of fantasy.
So like the true dark origin of horror writing. Before that, think 1920s. Weird, right? 1920s.
Now, H.P. Lovecraft.
There you go.
Yeah.
The Call of Cthulhu.
Me.
The Necronomicon. Oh, yeah. Yeah, but that was 100 years ago. Was that crazy?
H.P. Lovecraft, trademarked. I mean, should have, at least.
No, he died alone, broke.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, he was
just a miserable bastard.
He's the stamp of...
Oh, yeah.
Well, the hardcore stamp of horror.
Horror writing.
But Edgar Allan Poe.
I think you could file it under horror, but it was
exactly
a majority of it, which was poetry.
Yeah, but it's
but
still
as novels and stuff like that.
Yeah. But I'm just saying,
with the created universe.
If you're gonna give a horror a beginning, I would go Edgar Allan Poe.
I'm sure there's stuff that was even before that, but like
stuff
that's modern or stuff that we know of. Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about printed literature.
Yeah.
I mean the Bible.
That's pretty horrific.
Yeah.
Oy. I mean, circumcision alone. Anywho.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
It's more like...
I'm just glad I don't remember it.
Shock horror.
Oy.
He's not circumcised. He looks like an anteater.
No, that's awful.
Don't lie to people.
Okay.
Just stare at the camera. I'm just kidding. I don't.
But yeah, so again, there's always going to be. I couldn't find like research on the breakdown of. I mean, I'm sure that there's a million opinion polls and stuff like that when it comes down to physicality of tangible books versus the economic and ease of use when it comes to electronic, digital.
I love having a library.
Sure.
Me personally, if I read a book on my Kindle, I will buy a digital book before. If I'm iffy on the subject matter of the book, whether it be fantasy or whatever, I will buy it on the Kindle for it's going to be cheaper.
Something that we didn't mention. Yes, exactly that. Something that we didn't mention also is that typically, not always, but typically, digital formats are a little bit cheaper.
Well, a lot of it cheaper. You're talking about $10 difference.
Well,
on average.
No, I was gonna say. I mean,
if you go
on
all
a paperback,
the, if you go
like a paperback
all the
novel or something like that, paperback novel at Barnes & Noble is about $8.99, about $9. On the Kindle, runs between $4 and $5. So you save about $3 to $4.
Okay, yeah.
So, which is half
Well,
price.
I'm saying about all the books out there, you can get majority of the books that you can buy for about $20, you can buy for $8-9.
Yeah, so instead of getting
Kindle,
2 or 3 books at Barnes and Noble with $20, you can get 4 or 5 on the Kindle.
So
I did it yesterday. I bought a 3-pack for $5.99 of my other favorite genre, which is cyberpunk.
So,
and it's the first 3
thoughts on audiobooks.
First 3 Shadowrun books written by Robert N. Charette.
Audiobooks.
Oh.
As a man on the go. So that still counts as a format of
absolutely
literature.
Yeah.
It still is a format of literature.
There is only one form of audiobook that I can both enjoy and actually, it's hard to combine that too. Not endure, but listen to. And that's if it's a dynamic audiobook, in that there's background scene, music or, noise
so
or
anything
explosions.
From like, one of the audiobooks, I use Audible, would be a soundstage theater or soundstage theater. They use the background sound.
Yeah,
and
so they have a Foley
actors.
team that will do the background noises or
so
whatever.
So you like full cast audios?
Yes, absolutely. Whenever it comes to, I did try to get through it just because I love him as an actor. Hugh Laurie. Did you ever watch House?
Yeah.
Yeah, Hugh Laurie. He has a couple of, or he has a series of books on Spotify. It's just, I love listening to his voice, so he's one of the rare ones, but having someone just read to me is difficult.
Fall asleep?
I get really tired. And that's really dangerous when the vast majority of my job is driving. So I've had a couple of times where I'm trying to get, I had Audible at 1.2 and trying to get through, listen to a book while I'm driving and, it's dark out and I'm like, this is dangerous as all hell. You end up playing the Easy Closey game and you wake up and you're in a different lane. That's why I'm like, cool, I'm going to go back to podcasts or something.
There are some authors, Audible.
And is it just me or are most audio book reader, the narrators?
The narrators, yeah.
Are they all English? What is that?
Well, actually, no. A majority of the... Again, I use Audible just for anybody out there.
Good old
Audible.com, from a subsidiary of Amazon.
True.
Not sponsored by, but that's what I use.
Give us money.
Personally, is Audible. Definitely, I will sponsor that all day long. I usually read about or listen to about a book a day. I work an 8-hour day, and normally books are about 8 hours long.
Yeah, for the shorter ones.
As long
as it's not, Tolkien
or... A 300 to 400-page book is about 8 hours.
As long as you're not listening to it.
Yeah.
All
the current series
pages.
The current series I'm listening to is 64 hours.
Jesus.
It's a long series. But it's, it depends. A lot of narrators, as I was saying, are American. But the English authors...
I think people just find their voices more melodious or, whatever.
Yeah. But
whereas
they are able
like the
to
English
do
accent.
Better inflections, in my opinion. Or depending on the story. If I'm listening to fantasy, definitely want an English narrator.
See, that's racist. Because we all assume that, like, C.S. Lewis or J.R.R. Tolkien, or because they were all British, therefore.
But the current series I'm listening to with profanity is...
Are we talking about the...
Zombie one.
Oh, no, that's a different one.
Yeah. Threadbare is... that's a fantasy with English.
What was the military one?
Which one? There's
the 10 Rings.
Oh, 10 Realms. Oh,
10 Realms. Excuse me.
I will get to that in a second. So, so the zombie one I'm listening to has a large amount of profanity, but it's written by an American, and an American is reading it. So it's very easy to listen to. The story is very dynamic. So it's something that keeps you awake because you're waiting for the next line. You're waiting for the next line. And I think when you're going audiobooks, since you're not physically reading it yourself, and your mind's not projecting the voices and the characters, the story has to be even more dynamic because it's an audiobook. So the story has to be even more involved. It has to be even more descriptive.
I find that typically when it comes to English voice narrators, they're, and it's not a bad thing because it shows a refinement, but they're more cultured. It sounds like they're more erudite. They're more. Whereas when it comes to American authors,
that's why I like them with the fantasy books.
For high fantasy.
Because they have the in-depth words.
Well, it's not just the wording, but it's whenever they say and the ogres stormed the citadel of whatever the fuck.
Yeah, citadel.
But I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
But I'm saying
you don't want to hear they stormed the citadel. I'll tell you what, them sons of bitches, they went up in there and they fucked that castle up, man.
Them orcs, them ogres.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. See,
but I find that when it comes to emotional content, not sophistication, when it comes to emotional, like the darker, the anger, the revenge, whatever. When it comes to combat, I find American voices to be
very much
better.
So. I would have to agree.
Americans do anger better.
One time I'm going to agree with you that American voice actors are better.
Are we going back to animes?
Yeah, we're not. That's voice actors in general will be an
dub versus sub.
Yeah, that could be an entire episode all on its own. But the American voice actors for audiobooks, in my opinion, are 110% better, only because they can do I don't know what it is, but for books, they can get the vocalization in a myriad of fucking tones. Versus just when
I think maybe too it's partially because the genre of books that I like combat. I like adventure or action. So I don't want to hear, Judi Dench, who played M, in all the James Bond movies describing, and then he ran his chain fist through his guts.
He ran it up on.
No. What? I want to hear that motherfucker died. He died hard. You know what I mean? Like,
wow.
His guts were everywhere.
Oh, okay.
I bathed in his blood and I danced in his skin. You know what I mean? I want to hear like a strong American voice.
You want to hear bass.
Yeah.
You want to hear
I don't want to hear. And the trolls frolicked in the glen with the fairies and the dales.
Hold on.
Oh my god.
There's an audiobook I want you to listen to, and it's written by a woman, but the main character, or it's written by a man, but the main character is a female, so the narrator is female.
Interesting.
But the violence and everything is described quite well. But I think that goes back to.
But is there emotion in it?
Oh, definitely.
I mean, when she speaks.
Definitely.
Okay. She gives some heft to it. Awesome.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that goes back to the descriptive, like an author or a narrator can't assume they're reading a script, basically. So if the narrator the author can narrate this in their script, the narrator's automatically going to be, okay, so this is, because they're reading ahead of what they're saying.
Oh, yeah.
So they go, okay, anger. But if the narrator doesn't put that in...
Oh, there's absolute notations.
Yeah, the narrator just sits there and just goes in a monotone because
this isn't the first time they've read it.
Yeah, the author didn't put it in, so they're not going to assume anything.
And I have come across, and I mean, we're talking about the good ones. We've come across some bad ones where they're just...
Oh, yeah. No, there's some god-awful ones. So...
Is it Ben Stein?
Oh, I want to go with the...
Dry, red, dirty eyes... Clearasil, oh my god. I've heard some books read like that, and I'm like, whoa!
Well,
oh my god!
The 10 Realms, the book itself was interesting. Would have been better read by myself.
Would have been better written by yourself.
Yeah. Oh, you read the first one.
I did.
Yeah.
It's a cool story. It's a great universe.
It's a story for roots.
It's just like if you came up with this lovely... God formed this beautiful planet and this universe and all that, and then he gave it to an 8-year-old who just...
No, he gave it to a fucking 11 Bravo that's 24 and just got out of the military.
And has an IQ of the same number.
Yeah. I mean, it was written by...
The concept is amazing.
Yeah.
Why can't you read?
Why can't you write? Come on, man. What's the biggest word you know?
Where's the punctuation?
How many syllables are the biggest word you know? That's an editorial fail.
Automobile. Damn it.
Yeah. No. So yeah, he used the all these programs that he had pre-set up, and then he used them to fucking do it in an archaeological type of setup. So the beers that we went over today. Preferred mediums would be whatever we can use at the time.
When I'm at home, I want a physical book.
Yes.
When I'm out and about, I would absolutely love having access to my Kindle.
I have, for any book that I actually want to read, I will take a physical book with me any place. Even if I'm at a bar drinking it by myself, I'll take a physical book with me. But if
I've done it.
A book that I'm forced to read, I'll take it on the Kindle.
Yeah. Or if I'm at work and I'm on my lunch or whatever, and I'm sitting at a table, and I'm like today, I ate my burrito and read my book.
Yeah. So I mean, it's preferred, but I mean, I'll take a hard book and I'll take it with me if it's a book I prefer. If it's a book I'm forced to read or a book I'm iffy on, then I'll take a digital copy. But if I'm iffy on it and I read it and I like it, I will add it to my physical library.
There you go.
Because I like it. So the beers that we drank today were 2 Einstocks.
Yes.
Which was the Einstock Olgård
Icelandic Arctic Berry Ale.
And the Icelandic Toasted Porter.
Which is actually very good.
And I'm going to go ahead and let my co-host read off the label on this one.
Yes. So with clear notes of toffee and dark chocolate, this porter is roasty and rich, offering a medium body that is robust, yet smooth on the palate. Toasted and chocolate malts give it a sinister black color, but its easy to drink taste will have you believing that there's no more need to be afraid of the dark.
That's racist.
Drektu, Sigradu, Induractu.
What the fuck does that mean?
Klatu, Vrata, Nikto.
Oh, no, that's like the last
That's their,
beer.
yeah. That's their, hail or their cheer or whatever. Yeah. The Klatu, Vrata, Nikto is from the Necronomicon. And
God
Evil
damn it,
Dead.
what was it? Fucking,
With Ash.
Yeah.
Good Ash, bad Ash. I'm the one with the gun.
I can remember the words.
Klatu, Vrata. Yeah. Didn't go well.
Oh, God.
Sure didn't. All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining us here at the Hyenas Den. I hope you greatly enjoyed our absolute chicanery on books and a myriad of other topics. But if you have questions, please feel free to let us know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends. We are very funny. I'm sure you'll agree to that. And I'm sure your friends will think so too.
And the next episode is going to be on our favorite series of books.
Yes. Favorite series. Yes.
So we'll get
which can be different from favorite singular book.
And for you all on the podcast, we'll try not to go on a political tangent on that one.
That was all you, homeboy.
No, I brought up a question.
You brought it up.
Yeah, you ran off.
And I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So, definitely, if you're watching the video right now, the podcast has the unedited version of this, which is probably about 40 minutes longer than what you're actually seeing here.
Well, 30. I think it was a full 30. 30-something.
Oh, there's about...
Oh, maybe more.
Unedited.
Unedited.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Full frontal. No, wait. No.
Okay, we can make that a possibility. For you.
Only if we start a Patreon.
I mean, I could pass it off as an anteater.
It's not...
Everybody!
All right.
Have a wonderful night from the den.
Sayonara, folks.
What is it? Welcome to the pack?
Hey!
Welcome to the pack, everybody. This is Garcia. And Kerwin. Outro.
Later, folks.
Hit the stop button, bud.
Or whatever. Is it saving? Oh, good.